Welcome to another Crypto Cove call with Hunter Rodriguez. And today we're actually doing a bit of a special one. We're actually going to be going through a demo of PancakeSwap for those who haven't used it before. And before that, just for that, we're also going to be going through a bit of a checklist for folks who want to get in on the PFX rally that's going to be happening on April 2nd. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump right in. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And this is
Yes.
in the way. All right, first things first, if you want to get in on the rally, you have to make sure that you have some USDT available. Now, this is either going to be from the holdings that you have right now in Tether USD, or you would want to buy some, either through buying BNB, which is what a lot of people are probably going to have to do, or buy USDT if the exchange that you use accepts it and supports it on the Binance Smart Chain. And the general rule of thumb for that, if that's you, is to use the same exchange or the same method that you used when you got into pool funding when you were first onboarded. So for quite a few people, that's going to be the buy and sell option within MetaMask. So we'll go there. We'll hit the Connect Wallet button to connect MetaMask portfolio with our MetaMask account. This will probably already be done on your end if you've done this before, but just in case. All right, then we'll switch over from Ethereum on the Ethereum mainnet, and we'll scroll down to BNB chain and select BNB. Then we'll type in the amounts that we want to purchase in BNB. I'm just going to say 250 for the sake of argument. And for most people, they can just leave the debit or credit option where it is. And we see that we have a quote for MoonPay, and we also have quotes for Ramp, Mercurio, and Transact. Now, these are relatively common exchanges to us, so if you've used one of these exchanges before, then you definitely would want to use that exchange again, because that exchange will already have your KYC information, so it should be a relatively quick and easy buy process. Now, if you didn't end up using one of the exchanges that MetaMask suggested for you, or if there weren't any in your area, then you might have actually bought BNB from the exchange, like say Crypto.com or Binance, both of which support the Binance chain. Crypto.com supports buying BNB, and Binance, concerning as it's their chain, supports buying USDT on the BNB chain, as well as just BNB itself. So there's a couple things to keep in mind, and there's also another option, if I can pull this up. We also have some buyers and sellers in the pool funding group that would be happy to sell you some BNB or USDT. Like, for example, one of the ones that's been making waves is Nancy. Let me just see if I can pull this up here. Okay, now this is especially a great option if you're part of the unbanked population, or if you just don't want your bank having anything to do with this whatsoever, or if you're in an area that's less permissive when it comes to buying crypto. So definitely check that out and take a look at Nancy if you're in an area like that, or if you just want to do this without banks being aware of what you're doing. So after you get, let's say, the BNB, you'll want to do a swap over from BNB to Tether USD. I've covered that in a previous video, so we won't go through that process here, but we'll say for the sake of argument that we've already done that. So we have the Tether USD ready enabled. And if you're actually doing this on another chain, if you have USDT on another chain, like the Ethereum chain, then you have two options available to you. The first option, if you do have some Ethereum along with your USDT on the Ethereum chain, is you can use a bridging service, like, for example, Stargate. Now, this allows you to bridge the USDT that you have on the Ethereum chain for USDT over on the BNB chain. It's a relatively easy way to do a swap, assuming you have the gas for it. And I know I've said in the past that you might not want to use services like this with the Ethereum chain, but over the past while, I've seen the gas fees for the Ethereum chain go down quite a bit. So depending on the time that you're doing this, it might actually be worth it for you to try using Stargate or any other bridging service. Like, for example, I think I've seen the lowest it's gone for me over the past few days has been somewhere around 20, 30 cents, which is pretty low for the Ethereum chain. Now, if you don't have any Ethereum to go along with that USDT that you have on the Ethereum chain, then you can use Small Refuel. Small Refuel is another service I've looked at before in a previous video. So it's a question of connecting your wallet, selecting the chain, and then going from there. And with that, again, we have our USDT ready to go. So we'll go ahead and go over to PancakeSwap. Now, when you first get to PancakeSwap, this is pretty much what you'll see unless you go to the direct swap link. So from here, you'll want to go up to Trade and go to Swap. And then from here, you're going to want to connect your wallet, either using the blue Connect Wallet button up here in the top right, or the bigger blue Connect Wallet button down here below where it says Cake right now. So we'll go ahead and connect. And for most people, you're probably going to be using MetaMask, so we'll say we're using the MetaMask wallet. And MetaMask will pop up with a connection request to connect PancakeSwap.finance with our MetaMask account. So we'll go ahead and connect. And that's on a per account basis. Like, for example, you saw that I had my account 5 selected for connecting to PancakeSwap because that's the mainline account that I use for most things. So from here, we're going to want to switch our swap pair. By default, it's going to show BNB to Cake or the BNB chain. So we want to switch that over to USDT is the part of the swap pair that we're going to be swapping from. And then down below where we see Cake, we'll want to input the contract address for PFS when it becomes available. I'm using PFI as a stand-in, so I'm going to go ahead and get that from where I had that contract address pasted in here. And before I forget, one thing you also probably want to do is make sure you have PFI or PFS confusing myself now. In your MetaMask accounts that you have it showing. And if not, it's easy enough to add. You can just go to the three dots and click import tokens. Then go to custom token. Paste in the token contract address. Click next. And click import. So there's PFI imported. We're just pretending this is PFX, okay? So we'll go back to the PancakeSwap menu, and then we'll click where it says cake, and then we'll paste in the address for the PFX token. Now you'll see in this case that I've already added it, so it's just showing me this option to select that, but if you haven't added it in PancakeSwap before, you'll see a blue import button right here. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to click that blue import button. And then from then on, you'll probably have to go back to the menu and search for the PF token again. And then we'll click PFI again. So now we have this swap pair set up, USDT to PFI. Now, one thing you want to make a note of is that chances are you won't be able to swap all of what you want to swap over from USDT to PFX in one fell swoop. Partly because everyone else is going to be trying to do that too, and partly because it's unlikely that the liquidity pair will be able to handle that all in one fell swoop, at least during the launch period. Now I can simulate that here by saying, oh, hey, let's just put in the max amount. So say if I wanted to put all my USDT into PFI, PancakeSwap is not going to let me do that. And I addressed this in a previous call, but the main reason for that is that there'd be way too much impact on the price, as we can see here. That's 25.85. And if you're on the phone, watching this on the phone, you might not be able to see it that well. My apologies. But in any case, we see that that's going to be way too much price impact. That's going to inflate the price of PFI quite a bit artificially. And also, if we go up here to the swap pair again, we can see that for my 457 in USDT, I'm only going to be getting 329 of PFI, just about. So I'd be taking a really, really big haircut if even if PancakeSwap allowed that. So to counteract that, will we be doing multiple trades for lower amounts? Like for example, I'm going to do this demo with 10 USDT, and that's going to give me 969 USD worth of PFI, and that's for a price impact of 0.76. So not bad at all. So once you got your swap pair straightened out and you got the amount of USDT that you want to swap punched in here, you can then hit the swap button. And then PancakeSwap will ask you to confirm the swap and give you some more information about the swap that you might be interested in. And then we'll go ahead and hit confirm swap. And the first time you go through PancakeSwap, you're going to see a spending cap request from PancakeSwap. Now, what this will do is it'll allow PancakeSwap to spend USDT from your wallet. So you're going to want to go ahead and approve that. When you see that, that'll be the blue button. In this case, I've already approved that spending cap request, so we can go right into the transaction request. Now, PancakeSwap is asking me to confirm a transaction for 10 USDT, and it's showing me what I'm going to receive in PFI. So I'll go ahead and confirm that. All right, transaction is complete. I'll go ahead and hit the close extension button. And if you neglected to add the PFX token or PFI token in this case to your wallet before, you also have an option to do that by clicking this button here. And you can also go to BSC scan to take a look at the transaction you just made. And you can see that I made that transaction, 10 USDT to roughly 969 worth of PFI. So I'll go ahead and paste that in the chat if anyone else wants to take a look at that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and go over to my address here and go to token transfers. And we can see that I got this amount of PFI for this amount of USDT. So again, this is pretty useful to do in business or role to have a record like this, so you can view it and any other parties that you're involved with can review it as well. So that's that just about covers it. I'll go ahead and stop the share. And I know that I went over the desktop procedure here. I'm going to be going over a procedure using the mobile version of MetaMask in another video, because I know there's quite a few users that would rather use mobile, but generally speaking, it's a bit easier of a process if you're using a desktop or a laptop. So if you can use that, then absolutely use that. And with that, we're just about done. Does anyone have any questions about that process or anything else for that matter?
Is there anybody here that would like to do a trade right now? Maybe I could sweeten it for you, double it for you. Anybody here want to do a trade? You got some USDT to work with?
We might see that next Sunday, but we'll see.
All right.
Right.
Offer put out and well, I want to thank everybody for attending another episode of Crypto Cove.
All right, and if there was no further questions, I'll go ahead and close out. I'll stop recording.